You ever feel like you're surrounded by people, yet completely alone? You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You go places you don't enjoy. You agree to things that feel like betrayal to yourself. Why? Because deep down, most people aren't living for themselves. They're living for permission. Carl Jung called this the war between your persona, the mask you wear, and yourself, the one begging to be set free. Most people never win that war. But if you're here, watching this, you're different. The truth is, your real life doesn't begin the moment you're born. It begins the moment you choose yourself above all else. That moment feels like death, but it's actually your rebirth. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And this video, right now, is a mirror. It's not asking you who you pretend to be. It's asking you, who are you without fear? So take a breath. Because what you're about to hear may change how you see your entire life. Comment this phrase if you're ready. I choose myself unapologetically. Let's begin. You were never born with a mask, but somewhere along the line, maybe it was school, your family, or that one moment you were laughed at for being too real, you put it on. Carl Jung called this the persona, the version of yourself shaped to please others, to fit in, to survive. It's not evil, it was necessary. But the danger comes when you start believing the mask is you. You become the people pleaser, the overachiever, the peacemaker, the chameleon who sacrifices truth for comfort. And here's the dark part no one wants to say. The world rewards your mask. It claps for it, promotes it, loves it. But it never loves you. The moment you start peeling that mask off, when you say no instead of yes, when you walk away from the wrong crowd, when you speak your truth even if your voice shakes, the applause stops. And that silence, it's terrifying. But it's also your test. Jung warned, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, because that's when the illusion dies. But that's also when your real life begins. If you're shedding your mask right now, say it out loud or drop it in the comments. No more masks, I am real. Let's dive deeper. Ready for the truth you've been running from? There's a part of you you've tried to bury. The angry you, the jealous you, the needy, insecure, selfish, impulsive, wild, chaotic you. Carl Jung called this the shadow. Not evil, not broken, just rejected. See, every time someone said, "Don't be like that," or "That's not who you should be," you didn't just change. You disowned a piece of yourself. You locked it away. But guess what? That shadow didn't die. It's still there, watching, waiting, sabotaging. Every time you explode unexpectedly, every time you ghost someone, every time you fake a smile when you're screaming inside, that's your shadow breaking through the cracks. Jung didn't say to destroy it. He said to integrate it. Because when you finally choose yourself, you don't just pick the nice parts. You pick the whole you, the good, the messy, the dark, the divine. And when that happens, Oh, it's powerful. Because now you're not pretending. You're whole. And nobody can control someone who has faced their shadow and lived. Drop this in the comments if you're bold enough. I own my darkness. I am whole. Because that's what the Reflex Method teaches. Embrace what others fear, and you'll become who others follow. Let's keep going. Let me ask you something powerful. How much of your life was chosen by you? Or have you been living for them? Your parents, your culture, your boss, social media. That invisible judge in your head you can never seem to please. Jung said something terrifying but true. The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents. And most people, they never put that burden down. They become the dream their parents never achieved. They follow rules they never questioned. They make choices to be liked, not to be free. But here's the dark psychology behind approval. The more approval you chase, the more your soul disappears. You stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What will they like?" And that is the slowest, quietest death there is. When you finally choose yourself, you realize something crazy. Most people you were desperate to impress don't even know what they want. So why hand them the pen to write your life? Drop this in the comments if you're done living for likes. Their approval isn't oxygen. I breathe on my own. Because choosing yourself means burning the blueprint they handed you and building your own kingdom. There's a moment. It doesn't look grand. It doesn't come with applause. No music swells, no spotlight shines. But it changes everything. It's the moment you say, "No, I'm done. I won't betray myself anymore." It could be as simple as walking away from a toxic conversation, or as powerful as quitting the life you were never meant to live. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. But the moment you choose yourself, fate shifts. You realize you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to break patterns. You weren't born to be understood by the world. You were born to understand yourself. And when that sacred decision is made, when the real you steps forward, you'll lose people. But you'll find peace. You'll walk alone. But your shadow will walk beside you, no longer haunting, but guiding. This is the moment the Reflex Method was built for. The rebirth. The internal revolution. Comment this if you're stepping into that sacred moment right now. I will never abandon myself again. Because from this point on, you are the center. When you finally choose yourself, something strange happens. The phone stops ringing. The invitations stop coming. The rooms feel quieter. At first, it feels like punishment. You ask yourself, did I make a mistake? No. You just left the noise. Carl Jung believed that solitude was not loneliness. It was alignment. He said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that are important to you. And now, you've stopped lying. You've stopped pretending. You've stopped performing. So naturally, the audience leaves. But listen, that silence, it's your new environment. A sacred space where power begins to build. Isolation gives birth to insight. Insight gives birth to identity. In the dark, you meet the version of yourself that doesn't need applause, doesn't need attention, doesn't need validation. That version, that's the master. That's the you. The reflex method is built to awaken. So, if you're feeling isolated right now, good. It means the transformation is happening. Type it proudly in the comments. I am not lonely. I am building. Because real power doesn't scream. It whispers in silence, then roars when the time is right. Ever notice? The moment you start choosing yourself, the narcissists come crawling back. Not because they love you, not because they've changed, but because they sense what you're becoming. Here's the truth through the lens of dark psychology. Narcissists aren't drawn to your weakness. They're addicted to your confusion. Your old self, the one that doubted, overgave, explained, apologized, was a feast for them. But now, you're changing. You're silent when they expect a reaction. You're calm when they push your buttons. You walk away when they dangle bait. And it terrifies them. Because once you choose yourself, you can't be manipulated. Carl Jung said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." That's why narcissists want you distracted, stuck in guilt, proving your worth, explaining your value. But you're no longer available for that game. The moment you reclaim your energy, you flip the script, from prey to power, from fuel to fire. Say it out loud and drop it below if this hits. I'm no longer a source. I'm a storm. The reflex method isn't about revenge. It's about elevation so powerful. They don't even recognize you anymore. Everyone talks about the law of attraction like it's magic. Just visualize it. Just feel good. But Carl Jung would tell you that's only surface level. Because you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So before you chose yourself, guess what you were attracting? People who didn't choose you. Situations that drained you. Opportunities that almost fit, but never quite landed. The universe was just echoing your self-abandonment. But now, you've stepped into alignment. You've become congruent. And the universe is listening. You'll start noticing little shifts. The friend who always drained you disappears. The random call offering you a new opportunity arrives. The inner peace that used to be rare becomes your default. Why? Because your frequency has changed. The law of attraction doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your identity. And when your identity says, I am worthy, I am whole, I choose me, the outer world mirrors that back. Say it now. Say it with power. I attract who I am becoming, not who I was. The reflex method teaches this. Shift your core, and the universe will shift with you. Everything you've been through, the silence, the isolation, the rejection, the awakening. It all led here, to the method. The reflex method is not just mindset. It's not just manifestation. It's inner law reprogramming. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's what this method does. It makes the unconscious visible. You identify the limiting beliefs that aren't even yours. You confront the fear-based patterns running on autopilot. You break the trauma loops passed down like an inheritance. And then, you rewrite them, consciously. You replace "I'm not enough" with "I'm inevitable." You swap "I must earn love" for "I am the source of love." You delete the story of survival and install the software of power. This isn't positive thinking. This is internal coding. And once you do it, you stop reacting. You start responding. Drop this if you feel it in your bones. I am no longer who I was programmed to be. You are not broken. You are becoming custom-built for the life you were meant to lead. Let's finish this strong. Here's the truth most people spend their entire life avoiding. Your destiny isn't waiting out there. It's waiting in here. And it only unlocks with one phrase: I am enough. Simple? Yes. But behind those 3 words is a storm. Because when you truly say, I am enough, you stop chasing. You stop proving. You stop begging the world to see what you already are. Carl Jung taught that the real journey is individuation, becoming your whole self, not half, not the edited version, not the polite performance, but the entire you. The moment you declare your enoughness, you trigger the code inside you. The ideas come, the clarity forms, the people aligned with your truth begin to appear. Not because of magic, but because you stopped hiding. The reflex method is not a hack. It's a return to your power, a return to your design, a return to the version of you that was never broken. So, if this entire journey has spoken to your soul, say this with me. Comment it like you mean it. I am enough. And now, I begin. Because the second you truly choose yourself, life bends to honor that choice.